criteria-based assessment, norms-based assessment, evidence-based assessment. First, we are going to see about criteria reference test. Glaser, in 19th century, first used the term CRT to highlight the need for tests that can describe the position of learners on a performance continuum rather than the learners ranked within a group of learners. Criteria-related standards or observed standards. They tell us where the student must reach after having studied a unit, what and how they must. This test tells how much the student has achieved when judged against this standard. A test about criteria reference standards provides information about what the student can do and what he cannot do. Hence, it is a test which uses norms that are based on predetermined external criterion or auxiliary standards. This external criterion describes the precise amount of end of unit or end of course competence which the student is expected to attain. This method provides clear and objective feedback, helping individuals understand how their performance aligns with predefined standards. Characteristics of CRT. Difficulty in establishing norms or standards. Allows all or any number of students to pass or fail. Allows direct comparison of students from class to class or years with reference to a specially defined level of performance. Performance is judged in terms of how well or poorly students do in terms of how they should do. Requires infinite sensitivity of every item. It is prepared for a particular grade or course level. It has balanced representation of goals and objectives. Limitations of CRT. It helps only whether a learner has reached proficiency in a task area or not, but do not indicate how good or poor is the learner level of performance. CRT are limited to some specific area readily available. CRT lack in validity as they are highly influenced by teachers' own interest. CRT are meant only for a small fraction of educational achievements. CRT uses effectively in a heterogeneous sample only. Next, we are going to see about non-reference tests. Non-reference tests use relative standards. They are based on comparative performance of the students within the group itself. These standards compare the performance of one student with that of the other student in the same group. Norms prepared for the kind of test tell whether each student stands in comparison to other students. They provide information whether a student is superior to or inferior to any other students in the group. Testing using these standards may tell how many students are superior to or inferior to a particular student. A major shortcoming of non-reference test is that the students are admitted to next higher class on the basis of grade. That is exactly what is happening in our country. The results are typically expressed in percentiles, indicating whether an individual's performance falls within the distribution. This approach is useful for understanding how an individual compares to their peers, but may not provide insights into absolute mastery of skills or knowledge. Characteristics of NRT. It is relatively easy to establish norms or standards. Generally requires a specified number of students to be classified in each grade or category. Allows performance comparison based only on how high to low one group with another. It is prepared for a particular grade level. It classifies achievement into various categories. It generally expressed in terms of percentile ranks and standard codes. Limitations of NRT. Here, only those items are included that deal with the important concepts of course content. It promotes unhealthy competition and does not suit to lower students. Next, we are going to see about evidence-based assessment. Evaluating students' achievement of expected learning outcomes is referred to as evidence-based achievement. It involves determining the expected learning outcomes of teaching a content area of the subject, then arranging the teaching learning process based on the expected learning outcomes selected, gathering evidences for the realization of yellows during teaching and assessing them. This kind of assessment of students' learning is essentially formative assessment in its nature. Based on the assessment of the evidence gathered during the teaching learning process, the teacher can incorporate necessary changes in it. Evidence-based assessment was first introduced in the field of medicine and has been introduced later on other fields, including education. After clarifying the instructional objectives before start particular content area of the subject, teachers can decide how they will gather evidence of emergent learning realizing their instructional objectives. There is no single way to gather formative evidence because formative assessment is not a specific kind of test. This approach is valuable for capturing a more nuanced understanding of an individual's capabilities. This can include assessment, observation, work samples, and other relevant data. Criteria reference assessment focuses on predefined standards. Norms-based assessment compares to a group average, and evidence-based assessment integrates various types of evidence for a competency evaluation. Each approach has its merits and its choices based on the specific goals and context of the assessment. Thank you.